Okay, here we are again today at Ken's repair shop. Today we're going to be working on this 2006 Honda Odyssey. We got some brake noise in the back. We're going to put rotors and new brake pads in the back. We're also going to check the emergency brake shoes while we're there to make sure they're in good shape. And if they're in good shape, we'll adjust them while we're there. And I'm probably going to be assisted by my friend Hoagie. He's going to be here probably sticking his nose in from time to time. Okay, let's get started. First thing we got to do is get this tire off of here before we can do anything. This is my Harbor Freight Earthquake 3/4 inch drive impact. And I know you're probably going to say, well, why did you buy a 3/4 inch drive? I bought a 3/4 inch drive because it was on sale, and it costed me the same as a 1/2 inch drive. This has 400 more foot-pounds of torque. I've had it for a couple years and it's done me good. Move Hoagie. Yeah, they just about gone. Would you mind handing me that screwdriver laying right up there? Screwdriver. Right there behind them pads. I mean, you might want to come over on this side where you can see. As you can see, the rotor is kind of rusted. There's a little bit of scraping there where it looks like the pads are just barely beginning to scrape. The rotor, we got new rotors. These rotors look like they've been off before because the bolts are going out of it that holds it on. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our screwdriver in here. There's a little space right there. See the screwdriver where it comes through? And then we're just going to pull. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get a different socket. Them's 11 millimeter instead of 10. Record? Yep. Slight problem here. This was a 12 mil instead of a 10 mil like they said. So don't even believe everything you hear on YouTube now.
Do you need muscles?
Need to get it in the right place where I can put some pressure on it. Let's see if it'll push. ain't moving. And pins must be stuck. Yep, that's coming right off, so the pins must be stuck.
No, that rust falling out of it.
Yeah. You want to lay your caliper somewhere where it won't put pressure on your line. If you put pressure on that line, you could run it. I know I had one here just a minute ago that did it.
Didn't you say it was a 10?
No. Here it is. I know I had it here somewhere. This is a 17. It takes this bracket off. If these were done properly, they were Loctited in. That's probably why they're so hard to get out. You can take these shoes out without having to pull the bracket off, but I'm going to pull the bracket off and the shoes all in one piece. And then we can knock the shoes out. See where they've had Loctite on them, green Loctite. And by the way, don't do what I'm doing.
Which is?
Doing it sitting on a jack. Set it on jack stand, it's safer. Okay. There's our caliper mounting bracket. Now we're going to pop our shoes out here. And as you can see, that one's gone. Completely gone. That's why the rotor's scraped up. That one's still got a little bit of shoe left on it. And it's probably because these pins were sticking. That one's going in. That one's going in. I wonder why that shoe wouldn't slide back. Sometimes these get rusted and they won't let the shoe slide back. We got new ones of these to put on, so we're going to take them off. Now, if everything goes well, this rotor, as you can see, it has very little drag on it from the emergency brakes. We're going to pull this rotor off and see what the emergency brakes look like. Okay, now get a hammer. Okay, normally if you were going to reuse your drums, you wouldn't beat them to death. But these I don't care about because I got new ones to go on it. So we're going to smack it here and see if we can't get it loose.
There it goes.
Like I said, normally you wouldn't beat on them like that. But being how we're not reusing these, we're not going to worry
There's
about
Mr.
it.
Inspector. He's got to inspect your work.
Yeah, he's checking out my work. That look like them pads are at least half. So we're not going to change them. We're going to leave them on there. I got some brake clean we're going to spray on her and clean all this up. We're going to get the new rotor out and put on, and then we'll adjust it. It's got an adjustment down here. We're going to adjust it to where it just barely rubs the brakes or rubs the rotor, and that should adjust our emergency brake back to where it'll work.
Should I hold my breath?
Probably wouldn't hurt, because this stuff probably stinks. I'm used to it, so it don't bother me now, but
Probably still not healthy to inhale. I'm going to show them what you're using.
probably not. Let me get this put in here. This is made by CarQuest. It's brake cleaner, brake parts cleaner. I'm going to spray these down. This evaporates pretty quick, so it's not going to hurt anything. See the dirt running off?
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting rid of a lot of that brake dust. Alrighty. Now we need a drum. Drum, da, drum, drum, drum. Rotor. It's actually a rotor, but it's got a drum built the back end of it. Gotta get right away from Hoagie. He's about to trip me. These drums come packed. I keep calling them a drum. They're rotors. They have a drum on the inside for their emergency brakes. They come packed in oil, so you want to spray them off. Spray a little brake cleaner around it, and you don't got to worry about them. A lot of people wipe them off, but usually by the time you get the brake drum up on there, they're usually dry. This stuff dries pretty quick. If you're going to put your screws back in, you want to make sure you line up your holes. That's why it ain't working. I ain't got my holes lined up right. Cool, there we go, back on. Now to help get your alignment right on your brake for your brake adjustment. Just put one of your lug nuts back on so it'll hold the drum straight. You don't have to be more than finger tight. As you hear, we got little to no drag on our brakes. There's a hole down here for you to adjust them with. I'll get down here where I can see it. I'm going to pull that back off because I think it's frozen. Yeah, it feels like it's frozen. Let me get a pair of channel locks to see if I can turn it. May have pulled it out our Okay, here we go. See if we can get this crack loose and get it to rock and roll for us. I need my flashlight that's in the house, in the bedroom. Okay, I'm gonna look down here and see what we see. Hoagie. Come out here. Okay. Let's see if we can use a smaller pair, maybe go the other direction.
It's turning.
I know it's turning, but is it going out or going in?
I don't know. It's coming towards you. Foot moving now.
up is pushing it out. So we get this back on here. Put our lug nut back on to hold it in place. Down was loose and up was tight. Getting a little bit of noise out of it now. Back it up just a little bit. I say it's probably going to be about right. It's catching a little bit, but it's probably because them shoes has been out of adjustment for so long. I may back it off just a little bit more. I don't want them overheating. I think it'll be all right. Now, we got to clean this up and put this back on. Put our brakes back in. Would you mind going there and grabbing me a wire brush? Right underneath where the tape measures are, there should be a wire brush.
Yes, sir.
That's Doc, by the way. He helps me out a lot when it comes to some of this stuff. Keeps an old man from running back and forth all the time. These seem to move pretty good. Springs, they're how far back do you need to go?
I think that's just about it. You were mentioning those. No, you said
Okay, we need to
normally
clean. We need to clean. You got it running?
Yep.
We need to clean these areas here where the brake pads ride. We got new metal pieces put in there. These move pretty good, so I'm not going to worry too much about them. If they were sticky or hard to move, I would take them out and clean them. But being how they're moving pretty good, we're not going to worry about them. In there on the long box on this side, there's a gray canister that says anti-seize on it.
Anti-seize?
Yeah. Just going to clean the rust off of these, put a little anti-seize on them, and they should be good. You see, we pretty much knocked the rust off of them, so we're going to put some anti-seize on them, put these new clips in them, and then we'll be ready to put the new brakes in it and put the caliper back on. We got to push the caliper back, but that's not a problem. If you're doing all 4 sets of brakes, the front ones are different than the back on these little clips. Well, I need to get my anti-seize before I get too far there. And if you'll notice, one side's wider than the other. Your clips are the same way. You want to put them in there just like that, just like they are. As soon as he gets back at her, my anti-seize.
You may have to go show him where it is.
Should be 2 of them in there. It shouldn't be that hard to push back. Let's see how much I can get a caliper for. Nothing on me.
Ready?
Okay, the other day we kind of got rained out, so we're back now working on the 06 Odyssey again. We ran into a problem here. We have a caliper that's stuck, won't push back. You can see I opened a bleeder and it still wouldn't push back, which tells me it's in the caliper. If you open the bleeder and it does push back, it's in your hoses. But this one wouldn't push back because I opened a bleeder and it still wouldn't push back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and do a partial assembly. When we get ready to put the caliper on, we've got a new caliper here we're going to put on, and then we're going to switch this rubber hose over to the new caliper. So now back to this bracket. We cleaned the rust off of it as best we could. Now we're going to put some grease on it. I normally use anti-seize, but my anti-seize for some reason has become MIA. For those of you that are not military and don't know what that means, it's missing in action. We're going to put a little grease on here to help prevent rust and allow everything to go together a lot easier. And it's just wheel bearing grease that I'm using. It's nothing special. Now you can buy what they call brake grease, but it's not really necessary. If it's something that you don't really want to buy, then you don't have to. Now we talked about these brackets the other day as well. Well, them two are hooked together. As you see, it's got a small side and large side, small side, large side. Just snap them right in place. Snap them right in there, holds them right in place. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on these too, and it don't take much. Just a little dab, just a little bit to keep it sliding good, keep the rust from affecting it as bad. And we're going to do the other side. Push down in there good. A little bit of grease. Okay, now you remember we already checked these. These slide back and forth pretty good, so we're not going to bother pulling them out. Now, I gotta grab my bolts. I forgot to grab my bolts. Ah. It will be good. these back on. You know what? Yeah, that's okay.
You're good. I was just moving your shirt back so I can see what you're doing.
I'm wrong bolt. Okay. Some people think it's necessary to put Loctite on these. It is recommended. I usually don't. As long as you get them torqued good, it'll be fine. Okay, we're back at it again. Normally, when you buy a caliper, it comes with new brackets. These brackets are in good shape, so I'm going to go ahead and reuse them. Just lay the others up on the shelf in case I need them later. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put our brake pads in. This one has the squeaker on it. It goes in the back with a squeaker up. We're going to put just a little bit of grease here on the edge. A little bit of grease across the back where the piston will touch. Helps keep them from squealing.
You're popular today.
Pop it right in there like that. Same thing on the front shoe. On the front shoe, we're only going to do the outer edges where the metal rides. A little bit across the end. This helps keep them from squeaking. I'm going to put this one on the outside, just like that. Now, we've got a new caliper. Brand spanking new. Woo-wee. Now, again, we're going a little bit of lube around there. A little bit of looby-dooby here. People say you only have to do one or the other. I like to do both. Now, I'm going to explain something here. I had a friend put a set of calipers on his van and he couldn't get them bled out. There's a reason why he didn't get them bled out. He put the wrong calipers on the wrong side. There is a difference. Your bleeder should always be up. If your bleeder is down here, you're wrong. Your bleeder should always be up. And that's how you tell one side from the other. Your caliper brackets torque at 101 foot-pounds. These bolts that I'm putting in now are caliper retainer bolts. Torque at 37. Snug them up for now. We'll come back and torque them later.
Apologize for the wind.
Why should I apologize for the wind? Let the wind apologize for itself.
No, I apologized.
Oh. Okay, now we got that on. Whoops, there went my hat. We're gonna pull the old brake caliper up here. We have to take this bolt loose and put it in here. Now, we've got a brand new bolt. What do I do with it? We got brand new bolts. Brand new brass rings. I'll show you the brass rings here in just a minute. Dump this out here and put everything we're not going to be using in the back of the box. Okay, these are brass crush washers. Now what them do is it makes a seal between your nut and your body. And then this one goes, after you put your brake line on there, this one goes on the other side. It seals between the brake line and the body of the caliper. This is gonna be fun.
In your defense, you didn't think you had to do this.
Well, I didn't know I had a stuck caliper until I took the brakes off and it wouldn't push back. Okay. Let's take this out of here. Which will allow me to, maybe. Down over there like that, which will give me a little bit of leverage.
Awfully blurry.
Huh?
Blurry.
Well, probably because I'm in here, in the way. Boy, that thing's in there tight. It's being difficult, which is the story of my life.
Either this thing's having a hard time focusing or I'm having a hard time focusing. One of the two.
Well, I'm having problems here. Any other time it would break right loose. Well, where did my ratchet go?
Right here?
No, wrong one. Oh, there it is. It didn't go all the way to the ground. Oh, gosh.
Did you get it?
Yep. If I'd have known I was going to be changing calipers, I would have kicked him loose before I took it off the brake. You're going to lose a little bit of brake fluid, but it ain't going to be that much. You're going to have to bleed them anyway. Now, one brass washer on through the hole, other brass washer on. Take the little plastic plug out of your caliper. Will you? Ah, come on now. Quit being a pain. Really? Okay, I can move that. Our caliper, that secure bolt is a different size head. The bolt's the same, but just different size head. I want to tighten this up. I forget what the torque spec says on it, but I usually tighten them up. Take my hammer, which is going to be my channel locks right at the moment. Tap it. Make sure the brass seat's good. And then tighten it a little bit more. See how we got a little bit more out of it? It's seated now. That's a neat little trick to keep in mind. Now, this side's back together. A little dust cover off of the, and there it went all the way back out. Off the bleeder. Crack the bleeder open. And let it gravity bleed. Now when we go to the other side, it'll be the exact same thing. Put it all back, do it all the same way. Just disassemble it and put it back together the same way. We're going to let this one sit here and gravity bleed. That might take a while for it to gravity bleed, so. Let it. Okay, we got the brakes back on the 2006 Honda Odyssey. We bled both sides in the back. We got a little bit of air out of them, but not real bad. Brake pedal's back up where it belongs. Got rid of our scraping noise. I want to thank you for joining us again and watching. I know it's been a while since we've had a video out, but the weather hasn't been all that great. I really don't have any place inside to work on these vehicles, so I got to do it out in the weather when I can get it done. So I apologize for that, and please come back, join us again. Hit that like, subscribe, and yeah, like, subscribe, and
The notification bell.
Notification bell, so you can get notified next time we post. We'll have more coming up on this one. We've got to finish up the brakes on the front of the Ranger. We got to put a sensor, some brake pads, and some backing plates on it. Then we've got the blue truck that's been giving us trouble. We're gonna have to try and get that figured out. Plus we got the camouflage truck back there. It needs a little bit of interior work done to it where I changed the motor and stuff out on it. Tell you more about it when we get to it. But we got more to do, so stick around. Maybe I can teach you something. Thank you.